My name is Rhapsody and welcome to Tainted Grail Conquest. Tainted Grail Conquest is a genre-blending game, mixing together rather complex deck building, roguelike, and RPG elements. It's truly one of a kind with its blend of a procedurally generated world, which you explore in third person, card-based combat with 3D battle arenas and animations, and also a lot of RPG-like quests which continue through multiple runs. Tainted Grail Conquest is available on Steam. At the top of the description down below, you'll be able to find the link to that. I'd also like to say thank you very much to the publishers for sponsoring this video. So I've had a look at a lot of stuff from this game. I've played a little bit of a start run. However, I'm doing something that I don't necessarily usually do with deck builders, and I'm going in more blind than I otherwise might. The presentational factors of this game give me a lot of confidence in doing so, and also the little bit of a run that I played makes me feel like I will be able to intuit a lot of it based on my knowledge of other games in the genre or compatible genres. Because again, genre blending game. As for the menus, we have a intro to video and tutorial off. We've got kind of like standard game stuff here, as well as the ability to skip animations if you're really gunning for it as fast as you possibly can. Reasonably deep graphics control, as well as the ability to remap, because I know that matters to many people. All right, let's get ourselves a male character model here, and let's give it my name. We'll give it whoa, hang on. Excuse me, that's my that's my Meat World name. Rhapsody. I'm a snow cone on a paper plate in a snowstorm. I'm pallid, so I'll go with the lightest skin there. Ooh, which of these actually mimics my hair the most? Like, I would love to have a sick undercut, or maybe like a round cut with a top knot or something like that. I'd have to be jacked to really pull that off, and I am far from jacked. This is probably the closest. I've occasionally worn my hair in this kind of like witchery style. I've got quite long hair at the moment. Facial hair. Now, none of these is close to me because my hirsute pursuits are flawed from the outset. I can grow exceedingly little facial hair, so I will go with this version of it. There we go. Yeah. It's not as much hair as the other two options. It's slightly more hair than this one, but it's got a little bit of the kind of like Viking charm of those knotted ends. Hair color. I've had a lot of these hair colors over the course of my life. I haven't dyed my hair in a very long time, but I'm probably around here, if I had to guess. Perfect. Let's go get ourselves a tattoo. Ooh, this is kind of like a cultist, kind of like... I wouldn't be surprised to see this on like an Uruk, right? Part of the Uruk-hai, especially. This reminds me a lot of the Dishonored. The Outsider from Dishonored. I kind of like this whole culty situation we got going on here. This feels a bit more Celtic. Similarly feel... Oh, actually... That might be getting away from Celtic and closer to Maori. Oh, that's just neat as hell. The crow there. I love the tattoo that looks like an ink splotch, because obviously it's made of ink, but it's not made in the same method that would create an ink splotch like that. So it's like purposefully recreating the artifacting of a different medium. Super cool. Oh, okay, so this is just... This has to be war paint rather than tattoos, that one there. Again, getting towards something a little more Polynesian in the previous one, maybe a little bit more, like Incan here, perhaps. Super cool. That is the only one that's been white the entire time, and those runes lead me to believe that this is a kind of closer to Nordic situation we're looking at here. I'm gonna go with the one that looks like the Outsider, because that's cool as hell. Go to the tattoo color. I kind of like the idea of actually having the tattoo color be lighter than the skin, but also like a vibrant color. I know I'm spending a lot of time on the customization here, but as we get into the run, you'll see why. Okay, we'll go with like a deeper red. It almost looks like you've got a port wine stain over one eye, and then the rest of this is just tattoos to cover up the port wine stain to make it look as though it was all tattoos. Not to say that anyone should be ashamed of port wine stain at all. Gear customization will be unlocked after the tutorial? Sure, then let's go into the tutorial. Tainted Grail Conquest, rather, is a roguelite game. This means it's meant to be infinitely replayable. Your journey will consist of short runs, and each run will be a different adventure. You'll encounter different patterns of enemies, characters, and locations each time you play. And the more you play, the more content you'll unlock. After winning or losing, you'll start over, but do not worry. Certain aspects of your progression will be saved throughout all of your runs. That is not a bad definition of the genre, specifically of a genre that is notoriously difficult to well define.
King Arthur promised us safety on these shores. Instead, we found stormy seas, rocks like shark teeth, and treacherous mists. Those few who manage to land will be set by hunger, cold, and nightmares born of weirdness.
It's like a northern...
My people settled around a gnarled old statue. Though we did not understand its origin or purpose, the enemy seemed to avoid it. That was good enough. For a time. In the end, the winds of weirdness only grew stronger, and the statue failed to protect the settlement. There was fear, despair, and then nothingness, as reality melted around us.
You awake to nothingness. All you can sense is darkness. A dense mass of emptiness so total that even your thoughts disintegrate. Then you hear whistling. An eternity seems to pass before something materializes in the darkness with you. Something angry.
Damn it, you weren't supposed to land here. Damn it all to hell.
The creature pauses for a moment, clearly weighing up some options. He taps a finger against one of his horns.
Now, listen, there's a lot to do and no time to waste. What can we try?
I know I'm paused for a second here, but as someone who is not just a fan of indie games, not just a fan of roguelikes, not just a fan of RPGs, not just a fan of deck builders, I'm also really intently interested in and a student of voice acting. And I seldom hear really good voice acting in the genre. This is really good. The writing is also really quite good already. I'm really impressed. So a goat demon of a kind has apparated behind me in the darkness. Really weighing up options. Now listen, a lot of time. No time to waste. What can we try? You know what? I don't need to know who you are. What, you're gonna answer like, Bob, and then just immediately tell me the rest of the stuff? In this situation, I put myself in this character's shoes. What's happening, bud?
Perfect. You can speak, and yes, these are really great questions. No easy answers, though. Sorry to disappoint. Now, listen closely. Are you ready? Brace yourself, because what I'm going to tell you is rather important. you're gone. Your village is gone. Everything you've ever known is gone. Yes, everything and everyone, including your very own self, as I mentioned already. However,
The creature taps two hooves together, marking a dramatic pause.
there is a small chance, an infinitesimally tiny chance, really, to bring it all back. You were saved from death in order to keep your reality from falling apart. But, well, it's not going to be easy.
There we get our concept of the roguelike.
We must ensure that you're in good enough condition to actually do anything. Which brings us to the problematic part. Your body.
You squint down at your
I've always
feet
thought
and
that.
hands in the darkness. They seem perfectly fine.
Oh no. Oh, goodness me, no. That's just an illusion. I had to get you here somehow, didn't I? Otherwise, you'd start talking about the afterlife and whatnot. And this, my friend, is not an afterlife. This is a total mess. But let's see what we can do. Here, this little trick should get us started at least.
Oh, we're no longer in a cutscene. We are now in a character selection. Okay, so we have 9 classes here from left to right. Apostate, Sentinel. I bury the N every single time on that. Is that incorrect? Zealot, Pathfinder, Weird Hunter. Weird Hunters focus on dealing as much damage as possible and using quick strikes or powerful blows. Then we have the Berserker, the Blood Mage, the Summoner, and finally, the Necromancer. Let's click on the one that is currently unlocked. Sup, Weird Hunter? The Weird Hunter is from the faction Children of Morrigan, has base HP 100, base damage 8 to 12. Weird Hunters focus on, already read that bit, ultimate ability. Weird Hunters call upon a beast of the weirdness to deal massive amounts of damage to an enemy depending on the number of charges they spend. They charge their ultimate ability by landing hits on enemies. They also have a passive skill. Every hit you deal leaves a hunter's mark. 4 hunter's marks make an enemy vulnerable. We've seen a keyword like vulnerable before.
Well, it seems your soul isn't strong enough to be picky about its vessel yet. Don't worry, you'll grow. Now, we need to see whether my little trick actually worked.
The goat weaves his fingers in an intricate series of gestures. With a final flourish, he conjures a terrifying creature into the emptiness.
Aha, here we go. This is a powerful Avalonian warlock. But don't worry, he's not really here. Not in the truest sense. Your goal here is simple. Fight. Show me that you've got what it takes.
Here is the battle arena. So, here's the part where I put a couple of my cards on the table, so to speak. Pun not intended, but also not diverted from. I have not played beyond like a couple turns of this battle, and I also tried to skip through as much of the dialogue as I possibly could when I was trying to do the tutorialization, and the largest reason for that is because everything I've seen or had seen at the time and still to this point have seen has just wildly impressed me, and I wanted to be able to capture that on camera rather than go away, play it for 2-3 hours, come back and then run it as more of a tutorial, which does make this unique among my first episodes on any deck builder. But my god, if I do not feel vindicated. Holy hell. You're picking up what I'm putting down on this, right? The presentational factor. I know this is a sponsored video. They don't pay me to be nice about the game. They pay me to say the thing at the start. That's what they do. And to upload the video of it. Oh, I got a glee inside me right now. Okay. So, let's decipher this screen along the lines of how we would decipher a deck builder, right? Over here, we got our draw pile. Below it, discard pile. Both make sense. Up here, we have passive effects, and then the passive effect, the Hunter's Mark. View all passive effects, currently active countdown hidden. So these passive skills, like they feel at the moment like an analog to maybe a relic, artifact, trinket system. May not be. We have Grave and Exile over here. What is a Grave? Each card is placed here. After it's played, these cards are moved back to the discard pile at the end of each turn. Okay! Interesting! So, I have played deck builders of many different kinds, not just roguelikes. And also, I've played deck builders of board games, of... okay, board games. I played board game deck builders, right? And the thing that a lot of board game deck builders do instead that roguelike deck builders tend to have lost is cards once played do not go to the discard in those. They stay in play, or they are aside. They are still in play until the end of the round, and then they go to the discard pile, and then you shuffle as you need to draw, right? And that's important because sometimes you have ways to interact with cards that are previously played in play as a result of those kinds of things. There are unique ways that works. Obviously, this also means things like an infinite are significantly less likely because the cards are going to be in the grave, but maybe there's ways to fish cards out of the grave. Who knows? I'm just intrigued by the concept of it being included. We have an exile. Cards are removed from your deck until the end of combat. Makes sense. You consume, you exhaust, you etc., you perish even. Down here, we have what looks like an end turn button as well as energy. Yep, energy used to play skills. And then we have the energy cost on a card up in that top left. We've got animations that play on hover. Nice. Quite concise keywords here as well. So block is a stance card, a card type that is most often used for buffs or debuffs, and you gain 1 block. Blocks the next hit taken from an enemy, lasts for only 1 turn. Interesting. So you're not blocking for a certain amount, you are blocking an individual hit from an enemy. Intriguing. And then hit keyword is a single instance of damage dealt. Over here, we have deals 1 hit for 8 to 10, deals 1 hit for 8 to 10. Final things that I just want to quickly check on here. God. I want to move it back and forth constantly, but I also don't want to make anyone dizzy. So I apologize. Base damage of the enemy character is 10 to 10, base armor is 0, and then on mine it's 0, and then 8 to 12. This down here in the bottom left is our ultimate ability. Ultimate ability deals 1 hit for 1 damage, and it charges by inflicting damage. And then I guess I can hold right to see more information. Okay, cool. Damage increases with the amount of charge collected. 1 to 5 charges adds 10% base damage, 15% from 6 to 10, 20% from 11 to 15, and then 16 plus. Okay, so now we're getting a little in the weeds rather than just analyzing the individual elements that are available to us on the screen. So let's play a turn. We'll block. Shoot you again. This is a 4 dweller. This enemy performs regular attacks, buffs itself, and occasionally summons minions to its side. We can also see directly above them, the enemy intends to use a normal attack. The intent system is something that I have been so pleased, so deeply pleased to see become a kind of like core building block of most of the roguelike deck building genre. Not most of, a significant part of, let's say. All right, send our turn. I had 1 block, the enemy has struck me, I lost the block, didn't lose any HP. Pay close attention to enemy intents. Hovering over them will tell you what they want to do on their turn. You're going to attack 2 times for 10 damage. Yes, okay. So the damage number is the second number. The first number is the amount of hits. Good. Maybe you have a better card to use in this situation. Yeah, I imagine this stunning an enemy. Stun is an effect that prevents an enemy from performing any actions until the next turn. Using this on an already stunned enemy will reduce its armor by 25. So let's stun the enemy and give him a good old whap. Good. Make our way to the next turn. This turn kind of plays itself. We strike there. Your enemy just became vulnerable because we added our 4th strike from the Hunter's Mark up here, making them vulnerable. So I'm going to attack one more time, getting myself to 5 on the Weird Hunter ability. Actually, 1 to 5 is the same, right? No, wait. 1 to 5 charges. Each charge adds 10% base damage. So this is currently representing 50% base damage. So why is it dealing 8 to 12 damage to the enemy? My base damage is 8 to 12. So if it's dealing 50% base damage, because of Vulnerable. Vulnerable is an extra 100% base damage. That tracks, baby. Get him with a Weird Hunter ability. Sick animation right there, frankly. As far as I am concerned, I'm going to end that turn, start a new one. We've got Small Strikes. A new attack type card. Deals 3 hit for 4 to 6 to random enemies. And you are preparing for a special attack. And it also has a timer. It even tells me that you are preparing for a special attack you intend to use next turn. So I'm just going to go... Oh... Actually, yeah, I'll do that one first, right? Because then I give the vulnerable damage to my larger hits. It's also interesting, I can stack more Hunter's Marks while the enemy is already vulnerable. Okay, that's, whew. Oh, that's an attack. It's an attack to be sure. Okay, I'm gonna hit you with Small Strikes. I want to see, does the first hit trigger vulnerable and then the next 2 hits take advantage? Yes. Yes, it does. Okay, so triggered effects can resolve in the middle of a resolution of a card. This is important. Again, it is something that does not necessarily hold across the entire genre, but it adds a particular interest and depth on my part at the absolute least when it is present. The enemy now has 2 stacks of vulnerable, so it just increases the duration. Makes sense. I have an ultimate ability, or each class rather has an ultimate ability. It's charged by specific actions. I charge it by hitting the enemy. We've gone through this before. Yeah, just deal a big ol' whap of damage to him. Excuse me. Beautiful. My health bar. Remember to stock up on combat items and use them often. Sometimes they'll make the difference between life and death. The combat item they are referring to here is the Healing Mixture. Restores 25 HP. Pop that. Get ourselves 25 HP back. The enemy is doing a 2x10. I can elect to double block this. And in fact, I will elect to double... Oh my god. My attacks against the enemy are so big right now. Base damage is 8 to 12. Wait a second. My base damage is 8 to 12. Why am I dealing 24 to 36 to you? Is vulnerable actually stacked to 2? Because this still has 2 times up in the top left and then duration 1 on. So I think you are actually 200% vulnerable to my attacks right now, which is incentivizing me a little to hit you again. I'm gonna do it. The enemy intends to buff in the next turn. Give them small strikes. Give them the big strikes. And then give them the weird strikes. 400 health off of the enemy. No flies on me. The enemy has buffed its armor by 10. That means your attacks will deal 10% less damage. Always pay close attention to the icons under enemy health bars. Okay, so these are here by default. That makes sense. You've also buffed your 100% base damage there. Oof. Big oof. We have an overhead swing here. Deal 1 hit for 10 to 16. Reduce the enemy's armor by 10 until the end of combat. I'll do that, get your armor off of you so that I can actually fight you again. Ooh, I'm incentivized to throw another overhead swing here to see what happens if I give the enemy negative armor. Ah, okay, negative armor is a thing. And if this was just modified by 200%, it would be 24, but it's not. Which means that that armor is actually taking impact here as well. amplifying our damage for lowering their armor. Neat. I had to take 20 damage to learn that lesson, but I'm glad I learned that lesson. Yeah, I should stun you rather than let you, murder me. Stun him. Overhead swung him. Make sure to hover over your enemies to learn about their behavior. It's absolutely crucial if you don't want to be surprised in a bad way. This has got to be overhead swing, small strike, right? And then a weird hunter ability here. You've got 2 stacks of vulnerable on you. Good to see. Enemy has got mad buff yet again. Oh, no. Didn't get mad buff. Looks like they actually just summoned Freunds. Stray Ghost. This enemy performs regular attacks. They each just have 10 damage. Well, I know what my instinct is, and that's small strike. Small strike. Yeah, of course that didn't manage to get you. Then I will block, and I could weird hunter you. They take no damage this turn. Fortunately, I also don't keep up my vulnerability well. I can probably charge this more. I don't have to use it every turn. The enemy has created a barrier. Attacking it won't count as a hit. However, other effects of your cards, like armor reduction, will work. Okay, so that means keyword hit is synonymous, at least in this instance, with take damage. We're definitely using block. We're definitely using both overhead swings. That's all clear to me. Excuse me. Okay, so barriers aren't depleted at the end of turn, so they're closer to something like temporary HP. Again, we will block, and small strike him. Last tip, and you're on your own. Make the enemy vulnerable, play this ability card being Broad Reach, and hit him with the fully charged ultimate, have fun. Next hit does 100% extra damage. This is an ability card. It returns to your hand every turn, is what an ability card do. Make the enemy vulnerable. So that would be play small strikes. Play this ability card, hit him with the full. So I die if I don't block here, so will small strikes. We'll block. I will pop a Broad Reach, and then maul the enemy for 77 damage. The enemy is intending to buff this turn. I'm going to stun the buff out of them, I think, actually. This small strike would give you a stack of vulnerable, which would then deplete over the course of that turn. So I do want to stun you. But maybe I then want to use Broad Reach or something. Or even just a base attack. No, let's get that strength. Okay, and now I die. I did intentionally take damage earlier in order to explore some of the mechanics. So I'm not too aggrieved, I guess is what I'm ultimately trying to say there. You got me.
Well, I should have seen that coming. It was optimistic of me to expect you to beat it on your first try. But don't worry. Like I said, you'll grow. I'm going to send you to a very special place now. It's a mirror of your reality, located in an endless loop between life and death. You won't die there, but nothing's really alive there either. You'll wake up in a place resembling your own village. You'll find a man there whose task it is to help you on your journey. Your main objective for now will be to push onwards, survive, kill the 4 guardians. Then we'll talk.
I mean, if someone walked out of the dark and then, like, was talking quite amiably to me, like we're on the same side, then summoned a big old boss that I died to, and then said, "Don't worry, I'm a fix all this," I'm probably not going to be asking that many questions. I'd probably be like, all right, let's go. Like, just lean into it, you know? Let's go. Always remember that any choice you make, big or small, might impact the world around you. That's not just a game tooltip, that's just broadly true. Looking a lot like the OBS logo right there. Which itself looks like the Google Chrome logo, which itself looks like, etc., etc., etc. An armadillo balled up into a shell, you know? Samus balled up into a ball. Okay, we have new items, journal page, weird candle, and the healing mixture. Use left mouse button or WASD to move around. Rotate the camera with the right mouse, change zoom. Okay.
Where your hometown once was, a lone man sits among the remains. He doesn't notice you. Only when you walk right up to him, he turns his blank stare toward you.
It's not my farmhold, is it? I'm from up north, the land of fog. I don't know what happened.
At least that's one thing you have in common.
A creature that looked like a goat told me I'd wake up in a strange place, and that I'd find someone in need of my help there.
The man looks at you for a moment.
I've already made some preparations and settled in one of the tents here. I can't offer you much at the moment, though. This place is different. But you? I've seen an enormous creature out there. A golem of stone. The evil energy it emits is beyond anything I've ever felt. I'd say getting rid of that beast would be a good start.
We've received a new quest. We leave the conversation. We are off to slay the stone golem. I've no more questions. Although, this over here looks like it may be relevant. Oh, no, again, I'm not really going to be asking questions of them. I currently do have 100 wealth. The basic currency is lost after each run. Is lost after each run, okay? It's earned in various places and used only to buy things lasting for this run. And then weird stone is to buy permanent upgrades. Okay, so your permanent, non-permanents. I could buy 2 healing mixtures before going out, apparently. I could ask to be healed. Pick a quest card, rather, for your journey. Pick out 1 of 3 random quest cards. Sure. Well, I think one of the first things I'm going to do is just get some healing mixtures. Couldn't buy upgrades or anything like that. No real need to rest, given our HP is maximal. It's maximal and maximally optimal. Let's go for him. Whoa. Whoa.
Good. I caught you before you went out, all on your lonesome. Our mutual friend already told you to slay the stone golem. Perfect. The golem is just a start, though. Even if you do manage to kill it, the further you go, the more dangerous the road will become. And since we're talking roads, you're walking within the weirdness now, and it's dangerous. Take these candles Light them up and try not to let this damned fog close around you. Got it? Oh, and before you face the Golem, look around the area. There's a blacksmith nearby who might be willing to join your village. Finding people like him will be crucial for your survival. Each one will be helpful in a different way. And with that, I'm out. Good luck.
Catch around, bud. You quest the anvil. Remember, return to your village only after you've slain a guardian of this tier. We have new items, worm candles. Can I mayhaps see these in my items? Sorry, worm candle, weird candle. Weird candle allows you to brave the weirdness without any repercussions. We can also see the difficulty over there is listed as 1. We've got slots for our equipment to be upgraded, it appears. Runestones can go into them. The anvil is supposed to be somewhere near our village, or rather the blacksmith is supposed to be somewhere in our village. We should find them before we decide to hunt down the first guardian. And then, yes, okay, so we actually do get to see our base deck. 3 copies of the normal attack, 2 copies of small strikes, 2 copies of overhead swing, 3 copies of block, 1 stun, 1 broad reach. Okay, so that is what our deck developed to over the course of the the tutorial. Alright. Well, this is glowing red. You're surrounded by weirdness. Better to avoid it so long. You can use a weird candle to repel it. Burn level none. The weird candle is spluttered out. Weirdness is everywhere and it brings unexpected dangers. Use 1 to burn a weird candle. I see. I see. That is a combat over there, I'm almost certain. Oh! So is this. You've got a weird card. Forces of weirdness insert themselves into your hand. Their effects depend on your weird card's burn level. Use it or be ready for the consequences of not playing it this turn. The card about which they speak is this weird card. Reduce the armor of all enemies by 25 for this turn. If not played, you draw 1 card more next turn and increase the cost of that card by 1. So I can negate the enemy's entire turn with just a simple block. I don't really need to broad reach because I need to get vulnerability up on the enemy before this is really like a multiplicative on a multiplicative. So we will Tainted Force, lowering your armor, and then use an overhead swing to permanently lower your armor. Let me see. Is there an end turn? Combat next turn. Combat next turn? Is that going to be it? T? Yep. Okay. Now block. Maybe we go something like block. Get you with an overhead swing. And then... Gosh, set up a broad reach? Or attack? I think I base attack. This one's definitely a normal block. 1 more overhead swing. Hit him with a small strike, and then I'll use Weird Hunter for the kill. Here's a victory screen. We have gained enough experience to get to level 2, as well as 23 wealth. Pick a new card. I can skip. Good to see. Small Blessing. Draw a card. It costs 0 the energy this turn. This turn, increase the damage you deal by 50%. Or Refreshing Breeze. Gain an energy. Lose 25% damage this turn. Let's take the small... This is only really going to be good if I have expensive cards in the deck. Right? Because otherwise, I'm just playing a random card for 0 cost. And it itself is 1 cost. And the card that I play is usually 1 cost. So it doesn't necessarily seem super useful for us. I don't know how hard it is to increase your energy in this game, so for that reason, I'm not going to take all in. I will take Small Blessing. Let's just put that in the deck. Pick a new passive skill. Whenever you hit an enemy, increase your armor by 10 this turn. That is very good. Oh, that's very good. Actually, is that very good? Immediately, I thought it was incredible. But most hits from the enemy, you just block with with a block. Haste, whenever you kill an enemy, draw a card with its cost reduced by 1. Let's do that. Let's combo off. Okay. Weird Candle's Flame is getting weirder, sorry. Less. Witness is trying to reach us apparently now. I mean, look, there's an exclamation mark over there. I've played video games before.
It's a mystery why these stones light up and banish the weirdness when people walk by. Many believe Merlin himself invented the runes carved into them. There's also a darker rumor that they were left by the Four-Dwellers to lure humans into their domain, like moths to the flame.
With 3 options: to boost the milestone's range, banish weirdness around the milestone. Obviously, in the prologue scene that we saw, the people found that they could avoid the beasts by being near a particular statue. Makes me feel like that particular statue is some kind of a milestone, or at least similarly enchanted. We can banish weirdness around the milestone. We can lose this milestone and receive a weird candle. That's honestly where I'm leaning so far, because ask for a blessing is lose this milestone, receive a random bonus, heal, boost damage, or boost armor for the next combat. I don't want to get a temporary bonus when I instead can get a resource bonus. But yes, I played video games before. Exclamation mark me. Oh, is it battle time? That's a pack of enemies, and we can see their aggro range as well, actually. Neat. Weird candles burning out, but use another one. Maybe in a moment. What's this? Ooh, big old weird skull. I see. Yeah, I've played video games before. The exclamation mark means quest. That means this is how we solve a quest. Hello. Let's save Blacksmith, I imagine. Got a mind bender that will spawn illusions of random enemies and a deformed peasant. This enemy will become stronger every hit it suffers. Have another copy of Tainted Force. If not played, next turn I will gain 10 armor. But if I've played this turn, I gain 50% damage this turn. Probably not going to want to gain 50% damage this turn, but I guess thanks for the option. Throw out the block. I'll happily take the armor next turn, I think. Enemy intends to summon allies, so summoners typically are the targets you want to take down as quickly as possible. So let's start living up to that. Or maybe small strikes. Yeah. I'm happy with the small strikes there. Whoa. Don't love that, but it's okay. Kill you, then do we draw a card? No? Whenever you kill an enemy, draw one with its cost decreased by 1. However, it might be that illusion enemies or minion enemies or, summonable enemies don't necessarily count as quote-unquote an enemy. This is relevant and mimicked in at least 2 other games in the genre I can think of. Nice try, nerds. Okay, I cannot block all of the incoming damage this turn at all. Unless... Not a stun. Okay. I really want to try and save as much of my health resource as possible. You get stunned. Single block. Attack. Attack. We're capable of setting up vulnerability on you soon. Enemy intends to heal the Faith Healer. No. Reduce armor of all enemies or by 25 for 3 turns. Wow. I'm gonna throw that. Nice. This and vulnerable. Yeah, this will kill you. Wouldn't kill this guy though. So we'll murder you. Draw a card, decreases cost. There we go. We get a free block out of that actually. Excellent, excellent pickup. We've got one more available. So we'll continue decreasing your armor. Stun on this one, I guess. Okay. Trying to make sure that I get the armor decrease at exactly the right time. We'll block, and then overhead swing, and then overhead swing, and then... Yes, 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 you may have increased damage. However, are you alive? I didn't think so. Almost got us to another level right there. I am fine that it didn't get us all the way there, because now we've a blacksmith.
Song breaks through the slithering of the weirdness.
I have no hope, no home, no gold. Mine is but misty morning cold.
Not long afterwards, you come upon a man wearing a blacksmith's apron.
Oi, traveller. Want to buy a good anvil? 'Tis all I have, I'm afraid. Me home, you see, went poof. 1 minute there, next minute gone. I
found myself with this lump of iron for company. I swear to the gods it started talking to me not long ago. So what do you do? Craft weapons and armor?
Oh, no. I left that life behind quite a while ago. All I'm interested in these days are runestones.
Runestones?
Yes, containers for the magic of giants. Even though you'll usually find them broken, they're extremely powerful. You can use them to enhance your weapons or armor. They will influence your abilities in different ways. Also, when you find 3 of the same kind and rarity, you'll be able to fuse them together. This will make them even more powerful. Here, let me give you some. You can try it later. I'd say that since you know what you're looking for, you should be able to find more of them out there. By the way...
What else can you do with these runestones? Just get the information as it offers to us. We got a crack Gar and a crack Calc. What? Excuse me? I've just been introduced to your shop. So each of these looks like by base, they cost 50. I can add a common runestone to the shop. Upgrade is permanent, but that is a runestone dust, right? So this is upgrading the blacksmith effectively. Rares and mythicals. Across here, we have exchange. Exchange it for one of a similar rarity. However, this does give us an opportunity to actually look at the ones we were given. Crack Gar, quality 1, common. It is in a weapon slot. It will increase your damage by 2. In an armor slot, at the end of your turn, deal 1 hit for 5 damage to all enemies. A free hit every single turn. In AoE as well, something I can't do yet. And then Crack Calc. In the first turn of combat, draw 1 additional card with cost reduced by 1. In an armor slot, heal 5 HP after every combat 1. I'm probably going to put this in a weapon and then put Gar into a armor, increasing my offensive potential and also increasing my front load. Also got upgrades out here. Are these upgrades permanent? Unlocks additional armor slot for runestones, item slots, runestone drop chances increased, rare runestones and mythical runestones as rewards. Interesting. Transmute is available here. Transmute 3 of your own runestones into 1 of the same rarity. Not going to be doing that there, obviously. However, I could use someone like you in my village.
You want me in your village? Well, you must first prove you can take care of yourself. Kill 10 bears and... fooling, for pity's sake. What would I need 10 bears for?
Meta.
Show me the way.
Love it. Combat abilities will now drop runestones. When equipped, they increase your abilities or stats. You can tell that this game was made by consummate fans of the genres blended. Okay, there's a treasure guardian there, which means that's got to be, yes, guarded by a treasure guardian. All right. All right, let's give you the old... Actually, hang on. Can I actually just, like, nest these runestones right now? Because if I can, I'm doing it. Yep. Can I take them out? Yes. Okay, so they are slotted rather than used. They're not consumed in the process, I think is ultimately what I'm attempting to say there. Let's give them the business. Tainted Force, 0 cost. To reduce all of their armor. How damaging am I going this turn? Enemy intends to attack all allies? This enemy drains HP from its allies, gets stronger when they die, and replaces them with summons. Which confirms that I have to target the Soul Harvester first. Which means I'm probably going pretty aggressive this turn. Yikes. It's pretty hard to go aggressive this turn. Soul Thrall, bit of a soul, playing the Soul Harvester. Usually Deformed Peasant over there. Alright, let me just pop that music back down as well. There we go. Did I get it down low enough? Just a little bit further. Wanted to pop it up to hear a little bit more of that blacksmithy. So I definitely want to stun the main target in the Soul Harvester, preventing their trigger from going off. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to block this Deformed Peasant. I'm not going to be able to put out too much damage after that, but heck, maybe it's enough. Or maybe I just want to draw the 2 extra cards next turn because I'm not going to be using that many hits. Actually, that is almost certainly what I want to do here. Let's stun you. Probably still just throw out the small strikes and an overhead. Didn't really want to buff you, but it happens. Okay. Feels like I'm just going to be taking some damage in this combat. If I spend my whole turn blocking, all I'm doing is just waiting for the enemy to overwhelm me later. Really accomplishes exceedingly little. Still not trying to hit the leftmost target there. Ow. It's telling me to remember to pay attention to their intents, despite the fact that I'm paying attention. Do not worry, friend. I'll get him. Okay. Let's stun you. Then I'm going to overhead swing at you. And then next turn, my goal is to get you... Perfect. Actually perfect. Overhead swing. Okay. Overhead I should probably block, right? Should probably block the 8 to 10 that's coming in. 91 to 136 damage right there. I really just want to get it to maximum just to see what maximum is. Probably going to end up popping a healing mixture as a direct result of wanting to do this, but... Broad reach, buff up. Yeah, low end of this hit is now 208 damage. Oh, interesting. That ended the combat. That didn't. Huh. So I guess both of the other ones were counted as non-essential enemies. They were counted as minions from the start, maybe as summons even from the start. Okay. Our options here are Storm of Blades, an attack card that deals 4 hits for 100% damage to random enemies. Okay, yeah, this is how I expected the cards were going to be formatted, right? Our character has a damage stat, and then the cards are just percentages of that. Duplicate the next card played is Double Pain here. Unfortunately, if I don't have many expensive cards, what is Double Pain really doing for us? And then Deep Breath. Gain a block next turn, draw an additional card with its cost reduced by 1. This is incredible. Storm of Blades... That's a lot of damage. Do not get me wrong. Also sets up our vulnerability. It's like good. However, our problem right now is not being able to play as many cards in a single turn as we'd like. Deep Breath, and also not being able to block as many times as we'd like. Deep Breath is the solution to both of those. Let's accept. And then see what we have in these treasures.
You found what was protected by this beast. A stash of gold and jewelry.
I'll collect it
When
for
you
100.
filled your pockets up to the brim with gold, 3 ethereal chests materialize in front of you. Bringing your hand towards one of them causes the others to shimmer and blur.
This game does a really, really good job of nesting its mechanics well within the lore and story of the game. Sometimes you play a roguelike and it's like, there is no explanation in this world as to why I am back to life, why I am progressing between those lives, why I can only take one of the things that's in front of me, things like that. And it is doing a very, very handy job of describing those things in particular. Big pile of weird shards. A new weapon slot for runestones? Just gain 2 damage. Ooh, baby. I really do want to start gaining base damage. But those weird shards, though. Permanent resource upgrading. Seems like a good RE ideas. That seems like a good. I'm gonna quickly go over here and just pop a healing mixture just in case my next combat happens to give me the old whap. Can I investigate?
You noticed the ruins of a home that was burned down. There's no telling whether it was destroyed during the war, set alight out of spite, or simply burned down due to an unfortunate accident.
All right, let's look at valuables. Door to your left, door to your right, a hole in the wall. Hole in the wall, that's where you keep your valuables. Got 50. Okay, so over here we have a pack of enemies. Even further, more over in that other direction. I no longer feel super confident in deciding to not just aggress against all enemies as they are provided to me. This also says hunting grounds, it itself. How do I interact with you? Can I interact with you? Maybe you're being protected by this, and I give these the old whap, and then I can do it. Faith Healer can heal its allies, and then we got the Mindbender, spawning illusions of random enemies. So this is difficult, right? Because summoners and healers are both extremely high priority targets. So which of them is the highest priority? Hard to tell, right? Gain 10% damage? It doesn't say gain 10% damage for that turn. So I think I'm going to let that one elapse. Gain a block. Draw an additional card. Reduces cost in the next turn. I think what I might do here is just... As much as I think the music is extremely thematic here, I also need to make sure that it does not drown out any of... Well, effectively, my guesswork as to how I'm going to get my way through this. Yeah, I think I will target a healer first as my priority. We got 2 energy left there. Fine. Oh, but if I wonder how this is going to work. I'm going to hit you 2 more times. Okay. That would be 2 to 3. That makes sense. But you become vulnerable at the end of this turn because of my AoE hit. However, yeah, it immediately clears at the start of the enemy's turn, so I don't want to leave them on 3 if I have any way to avoid it. Let's give him an overhead swung. I mean, I guess I can broad reach a slash at them. Both of them intend to summon allies, I believe is what the case is going here. The draw pile has 0 cards left in it. So something I could do, if I really wanted to, would be play Small Blessing, because I know that I've got most of my defensive cards in hand. It's just, if I do that, then these all get discarded to the other discard pile, right? Because I'm about to generate a new draw pile with this draw. Yeah, because now I've got 5 more cards I have to draw through before I get back to any of my defense here. In fact, I'm just going to murder you and then draw an additional card next turn. Yeah, it lasts only 1 turn. However, it's still draw an additional card next turn, so obviously I'm still going to want it here. Actually, I just kill you at the end of my turn, right? Bounty Hunter. It can add useless cards to your deck, okay? So deck trashing effect. You are set to be my least favorite enemy. Just in that I like running small, consistent decks and, well, adding useless cards to my deck. Like, I've talked about the fact that I played, you know, deck builders of many varieties, board games in particular. Dominion was my first. And I don't play with the Dark Ages expansion. And there's a reason I don't play with the Dark Ages expansion. Don't trash my deck. I'm trying to build an engine. How dare you? What did I just do? I pressed 1 and then tried to click. What does 1 do? Not certain I yet know. Let's give you an overhead swing. And attack you again. And then you get your 2 times multiplier by the end of that. And bop 'em. No problems. Hey, we got... No, wait, that's our own currency. Okay, so we didn't earn any weird stone with that combat. Deal 1 hit for 550% damage. And it cleaves. Interesting. We also have Protection from Evil, reduced damage dealt by all enemies by 30% for 2 turns. So that's if I'm not intending to block consistently. And then Bloody Frenzy at the very end. Deal 1 hit for 250% damage to all enemies. Offer is a keyword. Self-inflicted loss of resource or statistics. So you offer 5 HP in order to deal 1 hit for 250 damage to all enemies. Cleave doesn't hit all enemies. It just, I imagine, hits the enemies. No, it doesn't even just hit... Okay, so it deals 20% of the damage of this card, I'm assuming, rather than 20% of your base damage, to all other enemies. Okay, so it's not adjacency, it's just less damage. Having 1 card that just bops is pretty good. It seems pretty good. Let's take 1. Slow Thinker. Whenever you play whenever you play 2 or less cards during a turn, your first hit in the next turn deals 400% damage. Blood on Fire, increase the maximum damage you deal by 6, not the minimum though. And then Killing Spree, start every combat with 6 ultimate charges. So specifically because I have haste, whenever you kill an enemy, draw 1 card with its cost reduced by 1. And I also have 1 of the embedded stones that is giving us an additional card that is reduced by cost 1 on turn 1. What I'm thinking is that in this early stage of the game, I might be able to get away with being exceedingly aggressive. So something like Killing Spree makes a lot of sense in that instance. Slow Thinker is interesting as well, but I do draw a lot of 0-cost cards and then want to play them, so it's going to be hard for me to do that consistently. This increases the maximum damage. It makes our range larger, which means I can even less predict the effect that it'll have against enemies. I typically try and play around the worst possible effect it could have, right? So, like, I would just play most cards assuming that the lowest damage is going to be the damage that takes place. So this, while it will in fact help us, I won't be able to make too many plans around it. Killing Spree. Okay.
The local hunters call this ancient skull the Stag Father and lay charms and offerings around it. The legends say the Stag Father takes the dreamers away to join him on a great hunt.
So I didn't want to rest. because I assumed that resting here was just going to be HP, but you might trigger a battle or something like that, right? But takes dreamers away to join him on a great hunt. Let's do it. Okay. Enemies here are an abomination. It attacks everyone on the battlefield. And it also intends to use a buff. We have the Faith Healer and Faceless Hunter. Will deliver more hits each turn unless it's stunned. Interesting. You actually get a free block this turn, which is nice. So a single block and a single stun is actually quite good here too. 25%. Wait, reduce armor of all enemies by 25% until the end of combat. Until the end of combat. I thought it was until the end of the next turn. I'm gonna go block. I'm gonna go Tainted Force. And then I think I am going to stun you to prevent you from starting to ramp that damage. I now have the ability to throw out a final hit. I mean, look, I could broad reach if I really wanted to. The block I played was free. That's why I didn't play Deep Breath instead, by the by. Oh, I lit the weird candle. That's what happened when I pressed 1. I don't really need to stagger on this decision for too long. Let's just throw the most that we can do. Okay. Skullcracker. 44 to 66 damage cleave. Ooh, baby. I'm doing it. Get him. Get him. Can I... Yeah, murder you. Perfect. And then... pop you too. That's what I was talking about, right? Roll that aggression. Push that advantage. Sorry, press the advantage is the phraseology I'm looking for there. The hunt was successful, and you feel the Starkfather's gratitude. We can forget 2 skills. Effect discard 2 cards? Excuse me? I imagine that is remove 2 cards from the deck. Oh, it is. Oh, it is. Oh, it is. It totally is. Thin deck time! Okay. So, what do we want to do with this? We've got 1/2 cost, 1/3 cost, cost 0 energy this turn, and the Small Blessing. I don't know if can I upgrade this card to be like 0 cost itself? Because then I'll keep it forever. Until such a time, I probably remove a single attack and a single block so that I maintain like relative parity of different effects in my deck. However, I remove 2 cards that are diluting the more powerful cards. That is to say, the non-basics. You know I love a good thin deck. Removal? I love it. I'll remove the entire deck and then myself from the run because I've removed too many cards. And I'll do it every time until I figure out how it works, and then... woo! Boy, and then... Cursed Healer. That also looks like treasure here, perhaps. Hello. Oh, never mind. I got some enemies to whop. Ooh, draw a card. It costs... yep. And it did get the stun. That's exactly what I wanted. Shaman will summon totems to buff its allies with various effects, so you're probably actually going to be my stun target as a result of that, unless you summon a totem and then the totem is actually 10 or less health, because then the abomination can get it. Interesting. Tainted Force. Deal 1 hit for 4 to 6. If not played, next turn, I will lose 50% damage. So, one thing you may have noticed already is the differential effects of the weird cards that are being added at the start of the turn. What that is if I have very, very high weird candle going into a fight, I will get a better card. If I have low, I will get something like this, with downsides aplenty. Let's use the deep breath. That's always happening. And then I think I have to stun the Faceless Hunter, despite the fact the Shaman is summoning, just because we know the Faceless Hunter is gonna get up there. Faceless Hunter also does kind of feel like the target that I may want to focus on first. So do I now just give you 2 overhead swings? I now just give you 2 overhead swings. Feel pretty confident that was the right move. Yeah. So, Totem of the Wolf increases the damage of all allies at the start of each turn. At the start of each turn. I see. All right, you're already dead to my AoE at the end of this turn. Would reach. What I actually could do here. What is this damage right now? Actually, no, I'm weakened by 50% for this turn, so I don't want to do that here. Both of you are going to get a vulnerable, and then it's immediately going to be removed. Sag. Yeah, of course you're buffing. You're an ideal stun target right now, I'll tell you that much. Why do you seal 0 cost Small Blessing? Excuse me? The effect that does that is in my armor. Okay, I'll check it in between battles. Your passive effects. Actually, no. I'll check it here. First in combat, draw 1 additional card with cost reduced by 1. Cost reduced by 1. Not cost reduced by 1 this turn. Cost reduced by 1. Yeah, because it does specify by turn if it's, you know, doing it by turn. I'm going to murder you. I'm going to start murdering you as well. And then after the end of that, I think I'll murder you. Got him. We loot a cracked Ethel. In weapon slot, it will increase... each card played will increase your damage by 5% this turn. And in an armor slot, increases your armor by 10. Not super jazzed about that. I'd probably put it in a weapon slot, but I feel like it'd be competing against better things in the weapon slot. Probably put it in an armor slot, but I feel like it'd be competing against better things in the armor slot, considering that I am attempting to block the majority of the incomings. Hello, Cursed Healer.
You hear someone screaming nearby.
This one does not does not yet necessarily have VO. Okay. I'm playing, by the way, the version directly before the release version. So it is possible, as I often say at the start of these, that the content that is seen on screen is not necessarily reflective of the end polish, balance, or content of the game. I usually say that when the game is in early access, but this game is just about to release as I am recording this, and as you're watching this, has released. Godless healing. Yeah, okay. It's too much. They don't get over the top in this. We got to be very subtle with it. Godless healing. Godless healing.
Intrigued, you approach the source.
Oh,
of
he
the
is
sound.
joyful, actually. Godless
Turns out to be a
healing.
joyful
Godless
man,
healing.
advertising his merchandise
godless
to
healing.
the nearest trees.
Who said you need an all-mother or stag father to have a blessing of health? Let's not dwell on them anymore. It's all about potions and elixirs and other trinkets infused with proper...
His monologue goes on. You can see tiny horns growing from his skull. His mind clearly isn't quite right either. Maybe disrespecting the gods wasn't such a great idea after all.
Open that shop. Okay, there is a smoke bomb to reduce an enemy's damage by 50% for 2 turns. You also have healing mixtures here for sale and a warding lure to create barriers. I've got my equipped runes there and then that as well. I don't really to be trading you much at all. Do you want to come back to town, though? Godless healing. Godless healing. Nope. All right. Be good. I'm gonna pop a weird... Actually, I'm gonna pop 2 weird candles. So this is functioning similar to kind of like a light mechanic in like a darkest and dungeon thereof. This is a pack of enemies. Can't really examine the enemies before going to the fight. That makes sense. You do it over the course of the fight, you see. Enemies preparing for a special attack in 2 turns' time. Their shape and the pulsation of their body suggest that I should be ready for the explosive surprise. Okay, so I need to kill you in 2 turns' time. Within 2 turns' time. Well, I feel like I've found my in. Broad reach will double the damage of this. I was going to use the Skullcracker, but fine. Double the damage, and then kill you in a single attack. No time to waste. Got an achievement for it. Called No Time to Waste. I imagine triggered by killing an enemy on turn 1 of a combat. But you see, the minimap up in the top right tells me that there is a character over here. My cup absolutely filleth over, by the by. Like, not only did the rogue book, the weird is starting to deplete while I'm doing that. Not only did the rogue book sponsorship come through, and I really wanted to check that out for a bunch of reasons, obviously having already played it. But also, I was lauding in the episode that a lot of the games that we've seen in this kind of genre mix, are very specifically kind of like an FTL node-based system as to your map traversal, as to your area traversal, etc., etc., so on and so forth. This is not. Neither was Roguebook. And it's really exciting. This is like third wave. So I've talked about deck builders in terms of waves before, in terms of their release, right? Obviously, like the first wave being the ones that really kind of like popularized and cemented a lot of the ideas of the genre. So obviously Slay the Spire is on there. Intent system is from Slay the Spire as a novel creation, something they did to avoid frustration in players as they were testing it amongst Netrunner players at the start. And there are other games like Dicey Dungeons, which itself has also contributed a lot to the genre, not necessarily to exactly the same types of games as Slay the Spire has, but also. And then the second wave I defined by the games that are very clearly deeply inspired by those, and that's where it ends sometimes with some of those games. Don't mean to be overly negative. And then the third wave, Monster Train kind of marked the start of the third wave for me, is taking all of the things that were proposed in the first wave and kind of like increasingly refined by the second, and synthesizing them with new ideas to make something fundamentally new and interesting. And we're starting to see more of that happening in terms of the map traversal space, and I'm excited by it. Oh, I instantly love you. Look at that. Look at that mohawk and look at that twist. My man's straight up doing the twist as well, by the way. Like, stepped straight out of the 1960s? 50s? God, it might be 1910s even. I don't know. I wasn't around then. Bounty Hunter can add useless cards to our deck and intends to debuff us. There's a perverted life force here as well. This enemy will negate every hit under a certain threshold of damage. You can also deliver a certain amount of hits to temporarily get rid of the debuff. Negates every hit under 12. And the duration is 4 received hits in a single turn, so I can remove the aura there. Tainted Force. Hit for a bunch of damage. Hit for a bunch of damage. So it looks like my ideal goal this turn is just blow some nerd up. Just end nerd, please. I think I'm going to start with the Perverted Life Force. Yeah. Yeah. What about a box? Actually, no. What if I start with the Abomination, right? Because 44 to 66, so that low, like, if we low roll there, and then we low roll here, 44 and 16 make 60, and then unless we low roll on all 3 cards, we can kill the Abomination in mid. Okay, well, this Tainted Force now just murders you. Unfortunately, we drew a stun that has had its cost decreased, but is still unplayable. It happens. Disturbance. Your deck has been infected with obsolete cards. Play this card to get rid of it. There's none of those in the discard pile. Okay, I'm not too disturbed by that card. I can't do the word game if I already say the word. Dang. All right. You're doing such minuscule hits on each of those that I'm not really too concerned. What would this be? 42 to 63. Yeah, sure. Ha! Exactsies. Well, look, if I can, I should block this somehow. And I can. So I'll block this somehow. By stunning the enemy there. Skullcracker will do it. That overwhelms the threshold something fierce. We pop level 5. And having done so, we are offered counter, gain 1 block for each enemy alive. That's really quite efficient. Especially considering not always is one of them attacking you. There's 2 random attack, deals 1 hit for 100% damage to a random enemy, stuns a random enemy, and reduces a random enemy's armor by 50% this turn. And then finally, preparation, increased damage by 10% until the end of combat. Yeah. We'll take that perma buff right there. Hey, bud.
You hear music. Joyful melodies at that. They sound weirdly inappropriate, drifting through the inscrutable darkness. Then, the source of the sound appears.
Okay. I'm going to use the voice of my own bard from D&D. Oh, a traveler. Come on, sing with me.
There are many instruments around, all made
My
from
bard's name was
materials at
Leolov.
hand. Most have been crafted from sticks and bushes, but you can also see some monstrous body parts here and there.
Singing is the only thing that will get us through these strange times, don't you agree? Sing with me! Sure, whatever, man. Let's do it. You aren't all that bright, are you? My music once filled the halls of... Wait, what was the name of that king? He scratches his head. You know, the tall one. Arthur? Yes, grumpy one. Didn't like jokes, but he paid well.
He starts to dance again, clapping on his belly like a drum.
Speaking of paying, Master Stranger, do you happen to have any coins to spare? If you do, I might teach you a song or two. Learn a new song. Pick a neutral card. Requires 200 wealth. Learn a song of forgetting. Remove a card from the deck. Costs 100. Yes, I will buy all of your removal, sir. Oh, I can't do it again. I probably wouldn't remove the block. I probably would remove the strike first. Whoopsie. This is okay. It is all part of the journey of learning. We already did this one, but it's still giving us a little node over here, so I just want to come and check it out. See if... No? No? Okay, cool. Just make it absolutely certain. Pop a 1, maybe another 1. I only have 1 weird candle remaining as well, by the way. I should probably stop dillying and even stop dallying. I know. I'm loath to do it too. Tainted Force, bunch of damage. Got broad reach as well. So what I do here is we broad reach and then we murder you. Just seems to be the theme of how we're going to be dealing with them. Maybe I should have saved more weird candles for the stone golem fight, so we would open that with a bigger whop, a bigger whap at the enemy. This looks like I'm going to find some. Oh no, that's the village. I think we may have been exhaustive here. That's a stone golem if I've ever seen one. Oh, but a milestone. And then fight the... Okay. Damage increase for the next combat. Okay, yeah, I'm immediately going to turn this heck around. Go over here. Hello, Stone Golem. What's up, bud? So, dude. Oh my god, Skullcracker is here. Okay. Awakened Golem. This boss will spawn a new enemy after being stunned or after suffering several hits. Stun will also permanently reduce its armor. It will also lose some armor every few turns. Each turn increases its damage, excuse me, and occasionally insert special cards into your deck. Okay, well, I feel like the obvious thing here is to begin with a stun. I'll get 100% damage next turn, sure. Stun him. Excuse me. You have summoned a extra character, which... Moving stones. Whenever the awakened golem is crumbling, stones fall off of its body and come back to life as its minions. When they're killed, they can add helpful cards to your hand. 100 damage in order to kill you, though. But Tainted Force can do its full whap against you. So, let's broadly reach. Okay. So you might see, oh no, they're sitting over the top of one another. It's going to make me difficult to... Oh, you forgot about this, didn't you? I know I did. Seize the opportunity, only available when facing the awakened golem, deals a hit for damage. For approximately damage. You're doing a 6x8. That's very low, but you're doing a buff afterwards. This is probably a good turn to get you with a bunch of small strikes, if I had to be honest. Probably even start with the overhead swing. Okay, so now we've got double vulnerability on you. This might be exactly the right time to throw my first Weird Hunter ability. And in fact, I throw it for anywhere between 100 and 150 damage. Okay, so I wasn't expecting to have to say that that was an estimate, but we dealt 151. I can heal next turn. Ooh, risk. Stun the golem, lose 10 armor until the end of combat. The enemy is buffing themselves with this hit, so I'd be happy to stun the golem here. Although that will summon another enemy to the field. When that summons another enemy to the field, I have the ability to throw out Skullcracker. Let's do that. There it is. The extra enemy. Let's pop the healing mixture. Oh my god, that does so much damage. Just... Wait! But it does 20% of the damage that it actually deals? Hang on. Nah, it didn't deal 20% of the damage that it dealt there to both the other units. Whoops. That's okay. That is okay. Small strike attack. Okay. Let's pop a preparation there. Still 3 energy left. I think I know what I have to do. I can heal. Worst case scenario, I can heal, right? Because these both roll their 19. I'm deceased. Oh, but you're rolling a even bigger attack than that. Okay, hang on. Actually, you know what? No, I don't have to worry. I am going to murder you. Bye-bye. Thump. Hell yeah. Turns out I didn't even need the potion. We get 25 weird stones for that and one more weird candle. And we'll take all right there. Continue onwards. We get a cracked tier. First time in combat, increase your damage by 50%. That's incredible. And then armor. The first time in combat, 75 armor. Less. That's more credible. I'll take that. I'm probably going to try and slot it in, but it is going to require that I pick up an extra
the golem
space.
Collapses and shatters into thousands of pieces at your feet. You feel a strange surge of power in the air. Suddenly, a familiar creature appears.
Good. That was good. Congratulations.
You instantly recognize this voice. It's the goat-legged creature you've met before.
You see, the problem with weirdness is that it's an uncontrollable mess. It's the something you want. Really, really want. Snap your fingers. Here you go. There it is, right in front of you.
He looks at you, clearly unimpressed by the fact that you even exist.
If you're Avalonian, that is. You, people of the homelands, never found out how to control this power. And the problem is that you tried, because obviously you did. You know which human emotion is the strongest.
Ooh, you're asking for our input here. The strongest. It depends how you define strongest. Anger is an incredible motivator. Fear is incredibly demotivating. Right? It's paralytic, frankly. So sadness. Happiness isn't particularly motivating. Here I'm using motivating as an analog for as a parallel rather for strongest, because like to have an effect, right? Is the interpretation I'm going with here. Love and hate? I don't know if I have an answer off the back of the top of the mind, rather. Don't know if I have an answer for whether or not one of those is more motivating than the other. They can both be motivating. It feels just a bit saccharine to say love, you know? I think it's anger.
Yes, and every answer was correct.
Okay.
All of these emotions made an impact on the force that surrounds us, that envelops this island, and it tried to give back. You hate somebody? Wish them death? Snap of your fingers, and here you go. A clear personification of your feelings standing right in front of you. However, since you're not a four-armed Avalonian wizard, you can't control it, can you?
He pauses with a hesitant expression. Perhaps he's said too much.
Anyway, as I've said before, good job. There are 3 more of those for you to get rid of, and then we can call it a day. This day, this time, in this timeline. Also, another path opened for you, with another surprise at the end. Oh, and before you go, I have even more good news for you. Yes, you guessed right. You deserve a reward.
Thank you. I take a special passive skill, or I can remove it. Why do you even ask me? Why even ask the question if you know the answer? Oh, are we absorbing it? Is that what's going on here? Or, no, it's a portal that is reaching out to us with tendrils. We can use it to return to the village. incredibly cool. My God, I am impressed to death with this game. However, as the Goatman said, that's, or rather, the Goatman said that was not the end. However, I have to contradict you, friend, in that this is the end of the episode. There is a link at the top of the description down below to the Steam store page. It doesn't look like a Steam store page link because it's the one that tells them that I sent you. That you can click if you would like to go and check out this game for your very selves. For the moment, my name is Rhapsody. The name of the game has been Tainted Grail Conquest. Hopefully you've been enjoying yourselves, and hopefully we'll see you some other time.